All right, let's now go into some reviews here. Okay, let's get things back on track. So first, let's talk about Am I Racist? So here is my review over on criticalist.com. Amazing website, by the way, if you have never used it before. It is a free speech platform for movie reviewers and also just a very great, small, tight-knit community of film aficionados, television aficionados, and soon to be, hopefully, he said, Blaine's been promising this now for ages, that eventually we'll get books and comics and games and all that kind of stuff. But hey, he needs love and support for that to actually happen. So go check out Criticalist and sign up today. Not sponsored by them, never been sponsored by them. I just love their platform and have been on it almost since day one. And I can't believe it's been almost a year that I've been using the platform. I've never written as many reviews in my entire life than since I actually started the platform. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm not doing as many dedicated movie review videos. I'm taking these for my live streams instead, because when I soon as I get home from the theater, I just want to sit down and just write out a review. And so, therefore, that is what I did with this. So let's go into it. So first, Matt Walsh's Am I Racist? Review. First off, my score, 75% rad score. No 50% decent scores here. Gary Banjo Savage Worthington, but 75 rad score. I thought it was a very, very solid film, and let's go into why I thought that was the case. When Matt Walsh made the film, What is a Woman, back in 2022, I said that I thought it was the most important movie to come out that year, and also for this entire generation, as he tackled the insanity that is gender ideology, and how it was being pushed onto children, especially in the United States. This year, Walsh is back once again, donning skinny jeans and a hilariously bad man bun wig, as he now attempts to expose the scam that is modern DEI, anti-racism grift, that is impacting several major businesses and industries. Though I believe the film falls short of the greatness that was What is a Woman, in many ways, it is still a solid and important film for our time. I still very much hold to these thoughts that I wrote just a few days ago, because I think when you look at the importance of both movies, What is a Woman is just so much more important because of who it's impacting, right? Impacting children versus DEI, which is much more impactful of adults, working people, and it obviously doesn't make it any less important, but I think all of us could admit, yeah, as far as what do I think is much more of an existential threat to the safety of others, I think that most people would say, yeah, the whole gender ideology thing, much more of a pressing issue, though both need to be addressed, and so I'm happy that they did that movie first, and now they're going after this movie. That being said, though I thought that was a much more important film and a better film because of how much it just helped to expose the issue, and it felt more like it was trying to solve a problem, right? To figure out a problem and solve it and expose it. Whereas in the case of Am I Racist, it felt much more like a dedicated comedy. And so that's why, even though I do think that What is One is a better film, this movie is much funnier. And it's because when it comes down to the nonsense that is portrayed on screen and the interviews that he gets, the amount of money he had to pay these people just to come out to have an interview exposes that grift to such a degree and does so effectively and so comedically that it is one of the most enjoyable experiences I think most people have at the theater itself. So just to kind of unpack that first paragraph a bit, jumping back into the review. The best parts of this movie are without a doubt the conversations that Walsh has with various people while donning his disguise and just revealing they were able to be. Whether he was talking with race-baiting experts, charging thousands of dollars to be interviewed or brought in to teach a lesson, or if they were bikers in a Deep South biker bar speaking to how ridiculous racism is as a concept, Walsh was able to get excellent content that was both entertaining and enlightening. My favorite conversation that he was able to have was probably with a black owner of an auto repair shop who was so refreshingly kind, humble, and honest about his own lived experience in a country he refused to see as racist and showed no interest in the race-baiting literature that Walsh offered to give him for free. Instead, he was fine to just read his Bible. Seriously, the guy was a legend, and that definitely is my favorite part of the movie. There was just an amazing sequence between him and this owner of a auto repair shop in a very deep black neighborhood, and he's bringing up all these questions. He's asking about, hey, do you think that you live in a racist country? And he says no. Like, he talks about just how many amazing things that he has been able to get in his life, and it's because of the fact that he lives in this country, and also the fact that he owns his own business. And it's great just to have that conversation there because there's that levity to it, but it also gives you that hope in humanity. And honestly, he's the biggest hero in this movie, I think. And if we lived in a just world, that would be the guy that in a future administration would be getting like the Medal of Freedom, would be getting accolades, right? For just being a normal person, living their life and just being a good person. So If you've seen the film, you know exactly who I'm talking about. One big thing about this movie compared to Walsh's last film, was honestly the tone and messaging. Whereas in What is a Woman, there is a clear through line and question that was filled out with several interviews spanning various opinions and really helped to expose the evil of gender ideology. This movie honestly felt lacking in many ways. I don't know if they couldn't get as many people to interview or if they wanted to focus more on the comedic journey that Walsh took in becoming a trained DEI expert, but the film just didn't have the same gravitas or effectiveness and honestly felt a bit empty at times. While I can appreciate the fact that they probably had to do a lot of things differently this time around because of the attention given to the last film, and that it was likely harder to find activists who weren't charging an arm and a leg to be spoken to, that does not change the fact that the film could have been much more effective and enlightening with more content like it. And I definitely still hold to this, right? Again, it goes down to that level of the importance of What is a Woman versus this movie. But I do think that my opinion has maybe changed only slightly, in that I do think the more I think about the movie, that I appreciate it more as the comedy that it actually is, right? You can see why, because of the topic being so much more serious in the case of What is a Woman, that film needed to be more serious. It needed to have that many more interviews. It needed to have that much more of a through line to really get that point home. Whereas with this one, the concept is already just so ridiculous on its surface, and it's not nearly as much of a dire threat in many ways, right, to children, as is in the case of What is a Woman. Where this film then was able to be more funny, was able to be funnier. It was able to have that greater comedic element to it, and so therefore did not have to be as polished in certain areas, did not have to have that through line nearly as much. But I definitely feel like, this movie is still a lot of fun, and I don't want to downplay the fact that this film is indeed a straight-up comedy. All in all, the film does deliver on several fronts. It was well shot, well edited, and the work of Matt Walsh being able to speak with these people without breaking character and coming across as authentic as he does is truly a gift that I hope he continues to bring to more projects in the future. It will be interesting to see if and when another documentary comes about, since now, once again, he has been put on the map and will be that much more recognizable. And I honestly do wonder, what is the next thing that he is going to go after? I think that these last two films have been the biggest of all, but when I saw that the footage was out there of him at the DNC this year, part of me did wonder, I wonder if he's trying to go after after an angle with that, right? Of maybe trying to focus more on the exposure of political parties, but I think that ultimately was unfortunately just a way to try to promote his movie. And again, kudos to him for doing that, but that goes back to those numbers, as I mentioned earlier, right? Only 345,000 tickets, roughly, based off a $13 ticket price in the domestic marketplace, is not nearly as much as I think as maybe they had been anticipating, especially with the numbers they have on their network. But still a lot of fun. If you were looking to have a good time and laugh, this is definitely one film that has it in spades. There are several parts when, though played for laughs, do still leave one sad to think about how the United States exists as it does today, and that so many people actually believe and buy into the garbage that the film exposes. Only wish that they had approached its film with the same sense of seriousness that they did with the last film, though since DEI is not directed at kids or is harmful to their mental health, I do think that most people will have a lot of fun with this movie. And again, I definitely still hold to that fact. I definitely think that this film could have done that, but I do think that, they probably did make the right choice in this because they were able to really focus much more on those laughs. And so those are my thoughts on Am I Racist? What do you all have to say? Let's see. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my people on Patreon, Father Luca Illick and Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. Also to my Subscribe Star people, Matt317. Check out his Twitch channel by the same name, Matt317. And also to the K-Man. Check out his website, xtheboundaries.co. And lastly to my YouTube member, Mr. Roy. shout out to you, good sir. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, check out the top link in the video description below where you get access to that. Also, you get access to a plethora of other things. You get your name listed at the end of every live stream and video, like you saw in those names that came up before this video started, and also access to a giveaways channel that I host over on the Discord server where I give away 4Ks, Steelbooks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have an exclusive podcast that I hold at least once a month, and it's always a good time, and you get extra bonus content with that also. So if any of that sounds interesting, again, check out that top link in the video description below. You guys are all amazing, and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day, a blessed August, and as always, God bless.